You ever meet someone and instantly feel like there's something there, but neither of you actually says it out loud? It's like the chemistry is hanging in the air, unspoken but undeniable. The question is, how do you know if what you're feeling is real or just in your head? Today I'm going to walk you through 9 signs of unspoken mutual attraction, the little cues, body language signals, and subconscious habits that reveal when two people are secretly drawn to each other. There's something powerful about eye contact that words can never quite capture. You know that moment when you're talking to someone and they hold your gaze just a little too long? It's not the regular, polite eye contact we give a stranger at the store. It's deeper. It feels like they're seeing into you rather than just looking at you. This is one of the clearest signs of unspoken mutual attraction, because when both people sustain that moment, it creates a spark of intimacy that feels undeniable. Eye contact like this doesn't happen by accident. We're all conditioned to look away after a certain period because extended staring can feel uncomfortable or even confrontational. But when two people are attracted to each other, instead of breaking the gaze quickly, they let it linger. That lingering creates a shared bubble where time feels slower, like you're both suspended in a moment that only the two of you can feel. The intensity of that connection tells you more than words ever could. Think about how rare that is in daily life. Most people glance around, check their phones, or avoid eye contact altogether because it feels vulnerable. But when you find yourself locked into someone's eyes and they don't look away either, it's a sign of mutual willingness to be seen. That mutual willingness is attraction in its rawest form. It's not just curiosity, it's investment. It's saying, without a single word, I want to connect with you. That's why eye contact is so magnetic. It's not just the length of the gaze, but also the quality of it. When there's attraction, the eyes soften. There's a warmth, sometimes a spark of playfulness, sometimes a kind of gentle seriousness that feels almost sacred. The pupils may dilate, the expression relaxes, and suddenly the eyes do all the talking. You don't need a rehearsed line or a clever joke. The energy between the two of you is enough to say it all. It's communication without sound, and yet it's louder than any sentence you could form. Now, this doesn't mean every long stare is romantic attraction. There are contexts where people might hold eye contact for dominance, for persuasion, or even out of social habit. The difference here lies in reciprocity. If you feel a charge in your chest and you see the same mirrored back in their expression, that's not coincidence, that's chemistry. When they hold eye contact, look away briefly, then return to meet your gaze again with that slight smile. It's a dance. It's a rhythm you both instinctively fall into. This kind of prolonged eye contact often leaves you feeling energized afterward. You might walk away replaying that moment in your head, asking yourself why it felt so intense. That's because the brain processes eye contact as an intimate act. It releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, creating that feeling of closeness. When attraction is mutual, the emotional weight of that eye contact is doubled, and it lingers in your memory like a secret only the two of you share. It becomes a moment that replays again and again, fueling the connection even in silence. So the next time you're wondering whether someone feels the same pull you do, pay attention to the eyes. If they linger, if they soften, if they seem to be holding onto yours just a fraction longer than necessary, that's not random. That's attraction showing itself in one of the purest, most primal ways possible. One of the most fascinating signs of unspoken mutual attraction is something most people don't even notice while it's happening: mirroring. Mirroring is when someone unconsciously copies your body language, tone of voice, or movements without realizing it. Maybe you cross your legs, and seconds later, they do the same. Maybe you lean forward at the table, and suddenly they're leaning forward too. This isn't a calculated choice. It's a subconscious way of saying, I'm with you, I'm connected to you. It's like the body's way of syncing up with someone you feel drawn to. What makes mirroring so powerful is that it's not about logic, it's instinctive. When two people feel attraction, the brain seeks alignment. Without words, it starts matching rhythms. If you've ever noticed two people in deep conversation, both laughing in the same way, tilting their heads similarly, or even taking sips of their drinks almost at the same time, that's mirroring in action. It shows that beneath the surface, their minds and bodies are tuned to each other's frequency. That's why it feels so effortless, almost like a natural dance. It's important to notice the difference between polite social behavior and genuine mirroring. Someone might nod or smile to be courteous, but true mirroring goes beyond that. It's not just about gestures, it's about energy. The way they lean in when you lean in, the way they soften their voice when you lower yours, the way they pick up on your emotional state and reflect it back. When this happens consistently, it's a strong clue that the attraction is mutual. Because no one mirrors someone they're not engaged with. They mirror people they're captivated by. There's also an element of timing that makes mirroring so compelling. When two people are attracted to each other, the mirroring happens almost instantly, like a reflex. You smile, and before they even think, their smile follows. You tilt your head, and theirs shifts in response. This instant reaction separates it from intentional mimicry. It's not about trying to impress you, it's about a natural rhythm pulling both of you closer together. It feels unforced because it is unforced. The attraction is guiding the interaction. Another layer of mirroring shows up in conversation. Have you ever noticed how two people who like each other start to use the same words or phrases? One person might say something in a playful tone, and the other adopts it without thinking. Their speech patterns begin to align, their pace of talking syncs up, and suddenly it's like they're speaking the same language. That linguistic mirroring is a deeper form of connection. It's not just physical attraction, but emotional resonance. It shows you're not just interested in each other, you're on the same wavelength. What's amazing is that mirroring often leaves both people feeling comfortable and understood without knowing why. When someone mirrors us, it sends the subconscious signal, we're similar, we belong. That sense of similarity builds trust and safety, which amplifies attraction. It's why time seems to pass quickly in these conversations. You lose track because everything feels so natural. The more it happens, the more it reinforces the bond, until you start to crave being around that person simply because it feels good to be in sync. So when you want to know if there's unspoken mutual attraction, don't just listen to their words, watch their body. Notice if their gestures echo yours, if their tone matches yours, if their energy shifts to align with you. That mirroring is more than coincidence. It's biology revealing what the heart is already feeling. When two people are drawn to each other, one of the most obvious but often overlooked signs is physical proximity. Attraction has a way of pulling us closer without us even realizing it. You'll notice it in subtle ways. Someone choosing the seat next to you when there are plenty of other options, or leaning toward you during a conversation when they could easily stay back. These choices aren't random. They reveal a deep desire to close the gap between you, because closeness feels better than distance when there's attraction in the air. What's fascinating is how unnecessary these movements can seem on the surface. Nobody needs to stand a little closer in a group setting, or lean across the table just to listen, or brush past your shoulder when there's plenty of space to walk around. Yet, when there's chemistry, people find excuses to shrink the space between them. It's almost instinctual, as if their body is magnetized to yours. And when you notice the same thing happening on both sides, when you're unconsciously doing it too, that's one of the clearest signals of unspoken mutual attraction. Think about conversations that have felt electric to you. Chances are, there wasn't just eye contact and laughter, there was closeness. You might have leaned forward and they leaned in as well. Maybe your knees brushed under the table or your shoulders touched when you walked side by side. These aren't accidents and they're not meaningless. They're the body's way of saying, I want to be near you. Physical proximity creates a bubble around two people, separating them from the rest of the environment even if the room is full of others. It's not just about touch, it's about the desire to create opportunities for touch. Attraction often shows up in micro movements. Standing close enough that your hands might brush, finding reasons to walk side by side, even positioning a chair just slightly closer than usual. These moments send subconscious signals of interest. They're attempts to test comfort, to gauge whether closeness is welcomed. And when both people allow that closeness to remain or even invite it further, it becomes one of the strongest signs that the attraction is mutual. Proximity also has a way of amplifying energy between two people. When someone you're drawn to stands or sits close, you feel your heartbeat speed up. The awareness of their presence becomes heightened. Their scent, their movements, the sound of their breathing, it all feels sharper. That heightened awareness is your body's way of signaling desire. And when you notice the other person showing the same level of attunement, leaning closer when you speak softly, staying near even when the conversation shifts, it means they're experiencing the same pull. What makes physical proximity so powerful is that it bridges the gap between casual interaction and intimacy without needing words. You don't have to announce attraction for it to be felt. You simply move closer, and if the other person mirrors that movement, you've created an unspoken agreement. This closeness, when it continues over time, deepens the connection. It builds comfort, but it also builds tension. The kind of tension that keeps both people thinking about the other long after the moment ends. So when you're wondering if attraction is mutual, look at the physical distance between you and the other person. Notice if they consistently choose closeness when distance would be easier. Notice if they lean in, stand near, or create chances for your paths to overlap. Because when attraction is present, space becomes an opportunity, and proximity becomes the language of desire. When attraction is in the air, one of the clearest ways it shows up is through playful teasing. Teasing is never really about the words themselves. It's about the energy underneath. It's when someone makes a light-hearted joke, points out something quirky about you, or challenges you in a cheeky way. That little spark of banter creates tension, but it's the good kind, the kind that makes you smile, lean in, and want to keep the conversation going. Teasing is how people say, "I notice you," without having to spell it out directly. The magic of teasing lies in its ability to create a private little world between two people. When you're joking back and forth, it feels like you've slipped into a bubble that no one else can enter. Even in a group, the banter becomes your secret game. It doesn't matter if the joke is silly or if the teasing is about something trivial. It matters that you're both engaged in a rhythm of back and forth that only works because you're tuned into each other. That shared playfulness is often the heartbeat of mutual attraction. Teasing also works because it mixes tension with safety. On the surface, you're poking fun, but underneath you're saying, "I feel comfortable enough with you to take this risk." When the other person responds not with offense, but with laughter or a playful comeback, it shows they feel the same comfort and excitement. It's like passing a ball back and forth. Each playful remark is an invitation. And when the other person keeps the game going, it's proof they want to stay in that moment with you. What's interesting is how banter often carries a layer of flirtation just beneath the humor. It might be exaggerated mock complaints, silly exaggerations, or challenges like, "Oh, I bet you couldn't do that." These little jabs aren't meant to wound, they're meant to spark. They create just enough tension to draw the other person closer while still being wrapped in warmth and laughter. That's why teasing is such a reliable indicator of attraction. It combines connection with tension in a way that feels effortless. You can often see the difference between polite conversation and banter. Polite conversation sticks to safe topics, keeps things formal, and avoids risks. Banter, on the other hand, thrives on playfulness and unpredictability. It has a rhythm, a flow, an edge of excitement. When two people are attracted to each other, their conversations rarely stay purely polite for long. They push the boundaries a little, test reactions, and lean into humor that feels just a bit more personal. It's a sign that what's happening isn't just friendly, it's charged. Banter also tends to create memories. You'll find yourself replaying a witty line or remembering the way they laughed after you teased them. These moments stick because they're emotionally charged. Teasing isn't just about words. It's about the laughter, the smiles, the subtle glances that come with it. The brain remembers these highs, and that memory builds anticipation for the next encounter. That's why playful teasing often becomes the highlight of interactions. It transforms ordinary exchanges into something magnetic and unforgettable. So when you're trying to recognize unspoken mutual attraction, pay attention to how much teasing and banter flows between you. If it's light, fun, and keeps building rather than shutting down, that's a strong sign you're not imagining the chemistry, because people don't invest that kind of energy into play unless there's something deeper fueling it. Banter is never just banter, it's attraction disguised as a game. One of the most powerful yet subtle signs of unspoken mutual attraction is the energy shift that happens the moment two people are around each other. You know that feeling. Everything in the room feels different as soon as they walk in. It's not always obvious to outsiders, but to the two people involved, it's undeniable. The conversation becomes more animated, the body language more open, and suddenly there's a buzz in the air. Attraction has a way of changing the atmosphere, like someone just turned the volume up on life without saying a word. This shift shows itself in small but consistent ways. Maybe you were sitting quietly, distracted, or even a little bored, and then the person walks in and suddenly your posture straightens. You feel more alert, more alive, almost like you've had a shot of energy. On their side, you might notice the same. Voices become warmer, laughter becomes easier, and their focus seems to sharpen when you're nearby. That shared shift isn't coincidence. It's the body responding to desire, excitement, and possibility all at once. Think about how you feel when you're in a room with someone you're not attracted to. Your energy doesn't change much. You might be polite, you might smile, but you don't feel that sudden spark of adrenaline. But with someone you're drawn to, your entire system reacts. Heart rate increases, senses heighten, and your mood lifts. That's biology at work. Attraction is designed to make us more alive because it pushes us to connect. And when it's mutual, you can feel that same charge reflected back from the other person. Sometimes the shift shows up in the way the interaction stands out compared to everything else. A conversation that feels ordinary with anyone else suddenly feels electric with this person. The jokes land better, the silences feel more comfortable, and even the most mundane topics feel exciting. That's because the attraction colors everything. It's not about what you're talking about, it's about who you're talking to. The presence of that person transforms the context, turning small moments into something memorable. What's also interesting is how this energy shift often creates a ripple effect. Other people might not know exactly what's happening, but they sense something. They might notice how you light up when that person is near, or how the dynamic between you two has a spark that isn't there with others. It's the kind of chemistry that doesn't need to be announced. It makes itself known through the atmosphere you create together. When attraction is mutual, it's rarely invisible for long. It radiates outward, even if you're both trying to keep it unspoken. Another way the energy shift shows up is in comfort and relaxation. Attraction isn't just about intensity, it's also about ease. You might find yourself feeling calmer, safer, or more at home when that person is near. At the same time, you feel more excited, more alive. It's a paradox. You're both charged and grounded. That unique combination is why the presence of someone you're attracted to can feel addictive. It satisfies something deep while sparking something exhilarating, and it becomes a state you crave. So if you want to know whether the attraction between you and someone else is mutual, tune into the energy. Notice if things feel lighter, warmer, or more vibrant when you're together. Notice if conversations feel different, if your body feels more alive, if the atmosphere shifts without effort. That kind of change doesn't happen in the absence of attraction. It's the very essence of what makes two people feel drawn to each other before a single word about it is ever spoken.